religion versus the law. Police citation and accusations of discrimination against preachers in downtown Fort Myers cost taxpayers thousands of dollars.
The settlement ended up costing you, the taxpayer, brought down an old rule on city books about who's allowed to say what and where. NBC2 investigator David Hodges has been following the tension between groups and joins us now live with this exclusive story.
Well, you might have seen these street preachers using their megaphones either downtown at the beach or on college campuses. They're not always popular, but as long as they're following the law, they're protected by it.
He's telling you, you will end up in hell because of it.
Confrontational to say the least.
You're not dressed like a Christian.
But Israel Flagg and his fellow street preachers know their rights.
We're trying to get you barred from campus.
That's nothing you're not going to win.
We're able to be out there confidently knowing we're not breaking any laws.
NBC2 spoke with Flagg, a born-again Christian, after he settled a lawsuit with the city of Fort Myers that started here. When Fort Myers police gave citations to Flagg and others for handing out commercial advertising. The ordinance was written in the 1930s.
What's this for? It's for distributing propaganda without it's a website. There's phone numbers on here, and it's directly you go to a website, you can't buy anything, and you have to, it doesn't matter. You're advertising the website.
He was saying, this is propaganda, this is, commercial advertising. It was pretty ridiculous to me.
After losing in court the first time, Flagg appealed and the case was dismissed. Then he and others sued the city of Fort Myers in federal court.
Had they picked up the phone and called us instead of making a federal lawsuit, we would have addressed it the same way.
Grant Alley is the city attorney. He recommended the city council repeal the ordinance, which it did.
We didn't want the ordinance. We took the ordinance off the books.
There's unlikely to be any law that can regulate Flagg. His preaching is protected by the First Amendment.
Pornography and idolatry and orgies.
Is any of what you're doing an attempt to antagonize people?
No, I mean, usually we're not the ones fighting people.
Ali is hoping the business owners and vendors who have issues with the street preachers can work it out outside of court.
They need to tolerate one another and work together.
It's not going to be enough for them sometimes. Sometimes people just want it off in general. They don't even want us to be there. But we're going to be there, and if we can do something to work it out, we will.
When the city settled with Flagg and other taxpayers shelled out $20,000, pretty much all of it in attorney's fees and none of it going to Flagg, he says he didn't want the money. For the NBC2 investigators, I'm David Hodges.
Fort Myers street preachers prove victorious in courts. Fort Myers, Florida. A group of street preachers who spread their message all over Southwest Florida have proven themselves also well-trained in First Amendment issues. A lawsuit brought by Israel Flagg and others against the city of Fort Myers was recently settled for $20,000. Officers of the Fort Myers Police Department cited Flagg and his fellow street preachers for distributing commercial propaganda without a permit. The ordinance was written in the 1930s. According to City Attorney Grant Alley. He was saying this was propaganda, this was commercial advertising, it was pretty ridiculous to me, Flagg told NBC2 in an interview. After being found guilty the first time in court, Flagg appealed and the case was dismissed. He then filed a lawsuit in federal court against the city of Fort Myers saying the ordinance was discriminatory. Had they picked up the phone and called us instead of making a federal lawsuit, we would have addressed it the same way, Fort Myers City Attorney Grant Alley said. During a city council meeting, Alley recommended the ordinance be repealed and it was. We didn't want the ordinance, we took the ordinance off the books, Alley said. He said there's unlikely to be any ordinance in the future regulating Flagg and his fellow street preachers as they're protected by the First Amendment. I don't think the city's interested in passing any ban on expression of religious beliefs or preaching, Alley said. But it isn't always Flagg's message about God that upsets people. He's called people enemies of God, and told people they're on the path to hell. Is any of what you're doing an attempt to antagonize people? Reporter David Hodges asked. No, I mean usually we're not the ones fighting people, Flagg said. Ali is hoping the business owners and vendors who have issues with Flag and the other street preachers will resolve it outside of the courtroom. They need to tolerate one another and work together, Ali said. Flag says he isn't stopping anytime soon. In his settlement with the city, all the money went to attorneys' fees and criminal defense funds, none of it into Flag's pocket. Sometimes it's not going to be enough for people, they just want it off, Flag said. But we're going to be there, and if we can do something to work it out, we will.